I mean, I was nervous that I was just going to be able to become a starter in the NFL when I was a rookie. And after becoming a starter and making a Pro Bowl my first year, I was like, man, when am I going to get exposed? And they're going to realize I'm not that good. And so I think it was that mentality that you were maybe an imposter that really helped kind of motivate me during my career to be better than I really even imagined was possible.
You have partnered with USAA to experience a day in the life of a military working dog, a dog unit at the Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio. What can you tell us about the partnership with USAA and how was the experience? Because I got a chance to see the video. It seemed like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun if you like getting your arm bit off and you like getting tackled by 90-pound dogs.
Yeah.
No, the USA, they're the official NFL salute to service partner. And it provided me, as a former NFL player, and Whitney Mercilus, another former NFL player that I used to wrestle with on Sundays, a cool opportunity to go down to Air Force Base Randolph in San Antonio and just kind of see what it's like being in the military working dog unit. And I think it gives you an amazing appreciation for how hard those guys work and what they do to keep our country safe. But also, I think I walked away with an incredible impression of how smart these dogs were, how good their noses were, but also the fact that they're like 80 or 90 pounds and they're like twice as fast as us, but also they're easily strong enough to take out me and Whitney a couple times. So it was all in all an incredible experience. It was a lot of fun, but a little bit harrowing when you've got a dog breathing down on your neck and you can smell their stinky dog breath behind you.
So would you do it again if the opportunity came up?
I absolutely would, but I'm going to wear some extra protection on my butt and on my arms. So when the dog does come up and bite, I won't have scars like I do right now from that day working with the USA and the military working dogs.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, USAA is the official NFL salute to service partner. When you were playing in the NFL, did you get an opportunity to visit many military bases? And if so, how much did you enjoy that experience?
Yeah, I always really enjoyed the platform that we got as pro athletes to be able to give back, to be able to go and visit military members and say thank you, right? That's such an important thing for everybody in this country to be able to do, and just thank those men and women in the military for all that they do and the sacrifices that they make, helping keep us safe. Being at the Pro Bowl almost every year, we got an opportunity to go visit the military bases. When we were in Hawaii, there's a bunch of bases out there, but I think the coolest thing that I did during my NFL years was I got to go on an NFL USO trip where we actually went over to Afghanistan. We flew around in Blackhawks. They gave us bulletproof vests and helmets, and we got to go to the front lines of the war in Afghanistan and go thank these guys that really hadn't seen any visitors in 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and they were coming back from daily contact with the enemy every single day. So that was easily the coolest experience and the most gratifying and rewarding experience that I had during my NFL career.
Absolutely. That sounds really awesome. And all this is happening right before you get inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is going to be on August 6th. How are you feeling as the big day gets closer?
I'm getting excited. I'm getting a little bit nervous, but more than anything, just excited to have all my family there. I think it's going to be an amazing experience being up there on stage with my wife and my kids as presenters and looking out over the tens of thousands of Browns faithful that will be down there. Certainly a lot of woofing, a lot of cheering going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I understand, you are going to be closing the ceremony. So do you like the fact that you're going to be saying your speech last?
You know, being the only Cleveland Brown and the first member of the new Cleveland Browns since they came back in 1999, I kind of had a hunch that they would stick me last as the closer. So I've been ready for that since the official announcement that I was going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be able to handle it, because I know that I'm going to be overcome with emotions, but I also want to make sure that I leave that entire Hall of Fame audience with something special and give the people in Cleveland something to be proud of.
And you obviously had a legendary career. When you entered the NFL in 2007, you were a high draft pick coming out of Wisconsin. Did you think you were going to be a Hall of Fame player once your NFL career was all said and done?
I had hopes. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say that I thought I would. I mean, I was nervous that I was just going to be able to become a starter in the NFL when I was a rookie. And after becoming a starter and making a Pro Bowl my first year, I was like, man, when am I going to get exposed? And they're going to realize I'm not that good. And so I think it was that mentality that you were maybe an imposter that really helped kind of motivate me during my career to be better than I really even imagined was possible. And I think that mentality was really good because there was never a point in my career where I said, okay, now I can rest. I think I'm good enough. I don't need to get any better.
Mhm.
I was always pushing myself to get 1% better every single day.
Right. And, unfortunately, the Browns didn't win too many games while you were playing. But what were some of your favorite memories in your NFL career?
Yeah, I had some good memories, even though we didn't have a lot of playoff games or championships when I was there in Cleveland.
Yeah.
We still had some fun games. So I think the one game that always sticks out the most is when in December of 2007 we were playing the Buffalo Bills and we got 7 inches of snow in
Mm.
the first half. And in that first half, we got so much snow. It was a whiteout that you could barely move the football. You couldn't throw. Our kicker was trying to kick the ball and he would start it towards the sideline. And somehow he made 2 field goals that looked like huge bananas. We ended up winning that game 8-0. There was no touchdown scored because the weather was so crazy. We got a safety and 2 field goals, but it just reminded me of the fun I used to have as a kid growing up in Wisconsin and going outside in January during winter break, throwing the football around and getting tackled in snowbanks. And I think it was that game that kind of reminded me of like the feelings that I got when I was a kid when I started playing football.
I don't know if you saw this or not. This recently came out, but the Sporting News just released Cleveland's GOAT Mountain of Sports. And you made the list along with Bob Feller, LeBron James, and Jim Brown. So what's your reaction when you hear that you're one of the 4 best athletes in Cleveland history?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I thought that being named to the NFL Hall of Fame was going to be the most shocking thing that happened to me this year, the most humbling. But being on Cleveland's Mount Rushmore for athletes is, I think, surpassing that because you name, all right, Jim Brown, the greatest football player ever. That's not a quarterback. LeBron James, greatest basketball player of all time. Bob Feller, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. And so just having my name bounced around with and kicked around with those guys is an unbelievable, indescribable feeling.
Oh yeah, and along with what you've done in your NFL career as a player, you've also done work as an NFL Network as an analyst. The 2023 season is coming up. Teams are reporting to training camp. The Chiefs come into the season as the defending champions. They won 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years. Do you see them having the best chance winning again, or is there another team, say like the Bengals or maybe someone like the Chargers or the Eagles, that have a better opportunity of taking a crown away from the Chiefs?
Yeah, the NFL's never had more parity. So
Yeah,
if you gave me the Chiefs or the field in a bet, I would always take the field because it's impossible to know what's going to happen during an NFL season. And there's so many good teams, there's so many good coaches, so many great quarterbacks that it's tough to just pick one team. But if I had to pick just one team, I certainly wouldn't bet against Patty Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs with all that they've done and all the guys that they have coming back, including the two that are the most important, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
right. And obviously, you spent your entire career with the Browns. Last season, the Browns finished 7-10. They're trying to get back on their feet with Deshaun Watson as quarterback. So, what's some of the things that they need to do in order to compete in the NFC North and get a playoff spot?
Oh, I think they need more consistent play from the quarterback position, right? I think everybody knows by now how important today's game is to having a great quarterback. So Deshaun, being that he had a huge layoff, not playing in Houston his last season, then he was suspended the first 11 games of the year last year in Cleveland. He just was really rusty and he didn't really have the opportunity to work into the system with Kevin Stefanski to get comfortable in that system, get comfortable with those receivers. And his play was up and down. And I think if you get consistent play from your quarterback and the Browns get a little bit better defensive play on the other side of the football, fewer breakdowns, fewer coverage busts in the secondary, I think they're going to be really happy where they end up the season.
Mhm. And one last question for me before I let you go is, in the NFL, every season there's a team that comes out of nowhere and makes
Mm.
a run at the in the playoffs or the Super Bowl. You know, me being based in Atlanta, there's been a lot of talk about the Falcons possibly being one of those teams that can make a run. Do you see which teams do you see that could possibly be kind of a dark horse team that could come out of nowhere and make a deep playoff run?
Well, I don't hear a lot of people outside of Cleveland talking about the Browns, but when you look at their roster, it's
Yeah,
as good of a roster as they've ever had,
right.
since they've come back in '99. And so I think the fact that Deshaun didn't play that well last year when he did come back, people are kind of snoozing on him. But I definitely believe that he's going to be back to the Deshaun Watson that we saw in Houston. And I think they're going to make a deep playoff run.
I can see that too. Well, Joe, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Have fun at the Hall of Fame ceremony. Good luck to you and continued success to you.